Hello friends, happy January, no, scratch that, happy February, which is crazy because January is already gone. And in today's video I am doing a reading wrap up for the month of January, and I want to talk about the 6 books that I read. So if you'd like to hear about them, stick around. If we have not met, hello, my name is Tanya and I like to talk about books on this channel, and I hope that your January went really well. I feel like I'm in full cozy like winter mood, and just I live in Minnesota. It has been very, very cold, and I definitely feel just like I want to just read and stay home and do my little crafty hobbies. And so I hope that your January went well, that you were safe, and it was a great start to the year. And I just love, I know it seems cliche, but I love like a fresh start, a new year, and so I'm just excited to get into reading. I started with my new book journal, which I just recently uploaded a video showing you my book journal from last year if you want to check it out. So I'm just excited. And so today I want to talk about the 6 books that I read in January, and then share a few that are on my TBR for this upcoming month in February. This is no particular order, but I started off with, if you know, I am trying to read through these little great illustrated classics. I actually read these with my kids, and I really enjoyed this one. We read through this one. They had seen the movie Little Women with us. We watched it before Christmas and they really liked it, and so they really actually enjoyed this one. And I always preface, if you don't know what these are, it's essentially like what it says. It's classics, but they have a lot of illustrations in them. And I think classics can always be intimidating, but I think an illustrated classic like this is a great way for any age, any person, right, to get acclimated with a classic, and then maybe to read the original, because sometimes they can be intimidating. But I really did enjoy this one. I always kind of end up rating these 3.5 stars, because you never really get the full depth of the original, obviously, because it is pretty, you know, short compared to the original, but I think it's a really great grasp on the story, and you still get kind of that cozy family vibe of just the, you know, the women and the sisters and the mom and just that whole dynamic. And I really do enjoy this. Is obviously a classic for a reason. I really enjoy it. Something about it makes me want to read it in the winter time. Then the next book that I read was The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And this is a book that has been on my list for a while. I had heard about it a lot, and I finally got to it. You can see I tabbed a lot of different things there, and I have to say that I really, really enjoyed it. It definitely had some just interesting things in regards to the topic of like hurry and busyness in your life. And I think something that I really have been working on, and especially this year too, even more so, is simplifying my life. I actually have another YouTube channel if you'd like to check it out, where I kind of talk about simple, frugal things that I do to simplify my life and around my home and things like that. I'll have it linked down below if you'd like to check it out. But I feel like this book was really great. It's by a Christian author, and he talks about too, I thought it was interesting because he talks about the ideas of busyness and hurry and all those things within our society, and he incorporates biblical scripture as well, but he does it in a way that's really engaging and not like confusing, because sometimes some books, theology books, can be challenging for me to understand, and this is very easy to read and understand. And I would recommend it to anyone, even if maybe you are not a Christian, but I just think it's written very well. He also has different like research and data things too. And I love the overall premise of it, is just to really take the time and take the initiative to slow down, and just the positive effects that can have in so many different areas of our life. So I thought this was really great, and I did enjoy it. Then the next books that I read, I don't have them, so I will put it on the screen. The next book that I read, and I'm so excited because this is a series. I found out about the series by watching some YouTube videos, and I happened to come across it, and I still don't really know how to pronounce. It's like Cheville, I don't know how to say it, but it's a series, and it basically follows this family, I believe, and like their children and stuff through you know, the generations, I believe, and it's at this home, or like regal grand home in the countryside. And it's a series that is like a Regency era romances, and you guys know I have been, and just I love a good historical romance, especially lately. I don't know what it is, but the first book in this series, it's considered a prequel, and this is the one that I read. It's called A Duchess for the Duke. And I also have to say, these covers are just very pretty to me, and I would love to one day have all of these in print. They're very simple and minimal, but just very beautiful to me, and I would love to have these one day. But what I also really like is that they are shorter. This little novella, they're all, I think, shorter, but like this novella was 109 pages. I think the others are around like 120, 130, I think, maybe the max 200. So they're not very long books at all, and I was pleasantly surprised. I felt like for 109 pages it did a really great job of introducing the characters, building the love story. You felt still that the historical feeling, the atmosphere, you know, like the fancy manner, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it. And I think especially when you are in a mood just to read something, but maybe not super intense or super heavy, or maybe you just don't have a lot of time, but you just want something short and sweet and just like happy, I really enjoyed this, and I'm so excited to read the rest of the series. They are also on Kindle Unlimited, so just a heads up. Yeah, I'm really liking it so far, and I'm excited to read the next one. Along the lines of discovering short, sweet, and just comfortable, like comforting series, I found another one, and includes so many of the things. Like when I heard about this, I was like, yes, this sounds like me. So they are fairy tale retellings, Regency romances, and like historical times, obviously along with the Regency, but they're shorter stories, and I was so excited. I didn't, again, know what to expect. And I read this first book. It's called Beauty and the Baron. And again, I believe there are 6 books in the series, and each one focuses on a specific like retelling. And again, they're not always like exact because it's a retelling, right? There's some twists on it, but this one is Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I love a good fairy tale retelling. Something about it just feels classic, right? And I love this one as well. Again, it follows a romance plot of this woman who her family has been down on their luck. Her father made some bad choices. They used to own a bookshop, and he unfortunately had some issues, and they have lost their bookshop, and he has been put into debtor's prison. And so now she basically is kind of taking her one shot, and she's going to this baron who, again, he has this great manor, this, you know, amazing home, everything. He obviously is wealthy, and she goes to essentially tell him like, hey, I'm really great. I like at balancing books, accounting kind of things, and I'm really great, and I could be good at this job. You should give me a job. And everyone's kind of like, this is crazy because your dad like lost all his money. No one's gonna trust you. But he ends up giving her a chance, and so it just follows the story. There is also a little element of mystery as well, which was a really fun addition to this. I really liked it. And again, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm actually reading the second book. I'm almost done. I thought I would finish it, but I didn't. So for sure in February. And I'm just really liking the series. There's no spice in this series, but it's just very like just sweet, and again, atmospheric. Like, I just love being in that Regency time, that a lot of these are in kind of these stately manor homes or like villages, cottages, and I just really like it, especially again this time of year. So if you're wanting to check this out, this series is also on Kindle Unlimited. Short, sweet, and again, I really would recommend. So far I have not been disappointed. This has been, I kind of ended up bringing this 4 stars because it is hard to get a whole huge development. They are shorter, but it's still, for a short, I would say kind of novella book, it's very good, and I'm really liking it. Then this next book that I finished in January is Red Rising. I ended up rating it 4 out of 5 stars, and this is one of the first, like, I guess it's considered sci-fi. I'm not normally a sci-fi reader, so this was a bit out of my comfort zone, but I wanted to try it. I know it's been raved about, and I've had it recommended by a lot of my friends and family members, so I decided to finally read it. I will be honest, this is one that I started earlier last year, but For some reason, for me, some of the pacing, which is why for me, one of the reasons it wasn't a 5-star, I just felt like for me, I did enjoy it. It definitely gave me like dystopian Hunger Game feelings. So if you like those kind of books, I think that you will enjoy Red Rising. I love the beginning of it. I do have to say, I listened to part of this as the dramatized, you know, book on like Audible, or I borrowed it from Libby, but it is so good. I love the cast, the voices, everything. It's so good. And then I did read the rest of it, like, to finish it up. And I definitely recommend the audiobook, especially, even if you're not an audiobook reader, definitely check it out. It's so good. I think they definitely put so much work and effort, and it's really good. I just felt like, to me, the issue was kind of the middle of the book. Again, I still rated it 4 out of 5 stars, but I just felt like the pacing was a little bit slow. There was a lot of this like political back and forth that, it's not that I hated it, it just was a little bit off for me. And there were points where I did stop for a few months, and then I went back and finished it finally. But I also was kind of left with this feeling by the time I finished it. I didn't feel like I just wanted to pick up the next one, because I know there's a few other books in the series. I think down the road eventually I probably will, but I kind of was like, like when I finished it, you know? And again, that's just personal preference, but I think especially if you are someone who loves like dystopian novels, it's YA, and if you like that kind of vibe, I think you will like it. There is a lot of also kind of like political intrigue as well in this, but overall I did enjoy it, but I think I was a little bit let down. It wasn't like a huge 5-star read like I saw it was for a lot of people. I did enjoy it, but not personally a 5-star read for me. And then the last book that I read in January, which was I think a great way to end the month, was The Reappearance of Rachel Price. And I, again, had heard a lot about this book. It's a YA thriller written by Holly Jackson. And this is the second book I'm reading by this author. I tried to read, it's the same author that wrote The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And that was just okay for me. I didn't really like it that much, and I didn't continue on with the series. So I didn't know what I would be getting going into this book. But I have to say, I really did enjoy it. I ended up rating it 4 out of 5 stars. I do have to say, I feel like the book did not have to be as long as it was. It was over 400 pages, which I feel like for a young adult thriller is a bit much for me, in my opinion. There were some points too where the main character, I found her, I don't know, like a bit annoying and frustrating. And so she did, I feel like, have some growth through the novel, which was redeeming. But if you have not read this novel, the premise of it is that there is this woman, that there is this girl, and when she is 2 years old, she's in a car with her mom, and suddenly they find her car on the side of the road. The little girl is in the car seat. She's 2 years old, but her mom is gone. People try to find her mom. There's no trace of her, and her mom is gone at this point for 16 years. So the girl is now 18 years old. She's had basically her whole life. She's lived with her dad. Her mom has been gone, and her mom's disappearance kind of was famous all around and on the news, and it's become kind of a true crime, you know, like people talk about it, and there's podcasts and stories. And so now the premise of this book is that there's a documentary being made about the disappearance of her mom, and all of a sudden, throughout the filming and the process, suddenly her mom appears after 16 years. And so now we're kind of following this path of figuring out like what happened, where was she, and at the same time there is these kind of thriller mystery elements of like maybe things aren't as Rachel is making them out to be, her mom. And so you're kind of following along with the main character to solve like, what really happened to my mom? Is my mom even telling the truth? Like all these things, and family secrets are coming out. I do have to say, I really did enjoy this one a lot more than Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I felt like I loved especially the last like quarter. I couldn't stop. I was just like reading. I was like, I have to finish it. It has suspense and all these things and family drama. I definitely recommend it. So if you are looking for a good YA thriller, definitely check this one out. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now I just want to quick go through a few of the books that I want to read in February. So a few of them I have in print because I'm trying to go through my physical TBR. But one of them is Only the Beautiful, and this is actually a library book club. My local library decided to try it out. They have a book club that meets once a month, and this is the February book, and it takes place in World War II, and I've already gotten maybe like quarter of the way. It does deal with like insane asylums, and that is, I don't know, it's like one of my greatest fears. It freaks me out, especially like the history and things that happened in them. But it follows during two timelines, like pre-World War II and kind of during World War II, and the stories of, I believe, two women, but it's pretty good so far, so I'm hoping to finish that in February. The other book that I really want to try is Authentically Izzy. This is by an author that I just recently discovered last month or 2 months ago, and I'm just excited. I love that this one has a lot of emails, letters, all those kinds of things. Just really excited. It has really fun, like I said, formatting. It has like emails and letters, and so this is part of a trilogy, I believe, and these are contemporary romances. I believe they're closed doors, so there's no like explicit spice, which is fine with me. And this one talks about, it says, "Dear reader, my name is Isabella Louisa Edgewood, Izzy for short. I live by blue tinted mountains where I find contentment and fresh air in books." That sounds wonderful. Oh, and coffee and tea, of course. "And occasionally being accosted by the love of my family. I dream of opening my own bookstore." Interesting. That sounds so good. And so I guess they signed her up for an online dating thing, and so I guess, I don't know if she finds like her Mr. Right. I don't know, it seems like maybe it's a mystery? I don't know, but it just seems like a really good rom-com-y situation, and again, I really hope I like it, and that I can read the second book, or I want to check it out. But yeah, I'm so excited to get to this one. Then the other one that I would like to get to, I've gotten into it, like, I'm on the second chapter, but it is Onyx Storm. I know probably a lot of people have been talking about it, especially for January. My pre-order was almost 2 weeks late, but better late than never, right? So I'm just going to be grateful that I got it, and it's just very beautiful also. But I do have to say, I've gotten into chapter 2, and I've heard this a lot, but I am a wee bit confused. There's just a lot going on, and there's a lot of names, and I don't like, I'm struggling a bit. So I'm hoping that the rest of the book is good. I am excited to be, again, with the dragons. I love the dragons. They're my favorite part. I don't mind the romance, but to me, that's like not the main thing. I genuinely just care about the dragons and what happens with them. So I'm excited to see, and I hope that this will be a good read. Then one of the last books that I'm putting on my TBR that I'm hoping to finish, oh no, there's two more books that I'm hoping to finish, and one of them is an art copy, and I'm so excited. It is the book Friends by Frederick Bachman. I'm loving it already so far. If you don't know, Frederick Bachman is like one of my top 5 favorite authors. I just really love his books, and I'm so excited that I've been able to have access to an art copy. So stay tuned for a video review of that book on my channel, hopefully soon in February. It just follows the story of friends, and it's hard to explain his books because they're so much more deeper than like the one thing it seems like they're about, like, oh, friends. But it definitely follows also like 2 timelines, and I don't want to say too much about it, so stay tuned for that video. But that is also on my February TBR. And then the final official book, I guess, on my TBR is that I have the second book in the fairy retelling series that I told you guys about, and that is, oh yeah, The Captain and Miss Winter, and they're called the Forever After retellings. So I'm just really excited to read, and actually I'm hoping I can even get to the third one in that, because like I said, they're pretty short novellas, so I'm just excited to read the whole series. It's so sweet. So that is everything I have officially put on my TBR for February, but again, I'm definitely a mood reader, so even if I can just read down a couple for my TBR, that will be a win for me. And then whatever else I read, you know, whatever my heart fancies to read is what I will read, which I think is what reading is about anyway. So thank you guys all so much for watching this video. I hope that you have a happy reading month in February, and I will see you in the next video. Bye everyone.